Well, thank you, ladies. Welcome to Spirit of Success University, Planning for Success. I'm so delighted and so excited that you are on, that you prioritized your business today by taking this time to focus on how to become more effective in planning your daily actions in order to achieve your goals. So this is the number one most requested topic of all those that I share. So you are in good company today. So just a reminder, have your handouts and be sure you're on mute. Be sure you're on mute. Check your screen, check your mute button. Be sure you got that little red line through it because we're going to hear some rustling if not. So please, please, please be sure that you're on mute just to get things started today. But I love that you got your cameras on. So thank you, ladies. You received 2 documents before the call, so please be sure you have those. You were encouraged to do a little pre-work thinking about your goals, and then you were also asked to have that handout to follow along with our class today called Planning for Success. So if you will have those were attached to the email that you received where you found the link for today's call. So please be sure you have those. So as I mentioned, this is the number one most requested topic that I'm asked to share with my clients, whether they're direct sales clients or corporate clients or even church group clients. So for some of you, I know this is not your first time taking this class, and if that's you, welcome back. And this is definitely a topic that we all need to focus on more than once, because how we use our time impacts everything in our lives. People often say, they want to manage their time better, or they'll say, I need to get more organized, or they'll say, I want to get more done, or they'll just say, I need more time. If you have ever uttered those similar words yourself, well, you're in good company today, because I think we all probably have at one time or another. We really are just going to scratch the surface today on this topic over the next 45, 50 minutes or so. This is normally a 3-hour class. Be grateful we're not doing a full 3-hour class. But listen, ladies, if you will stay focused and engaged, I promise that you will leave with actions that you can take to change some of the ways that you currently are approaching your time in your business. Today, we're going to focus on 3 keys to planning for success in your business. First, we're going to take a look at understanding the power of priorities. Secondly, we're going to identify your goals. And third, we're going to schedule your goals into your planner. That's really going to make a huge difference. So once again, just double check and make sure you are on mute. Janet, I'm not sure that you're on mute because we're hearing a little bit of rustling around there. But if anybody else could make sure you're on mute, that'd be great. So we're going to start with a challenge today, guys. We're going to start with a challenge. It's called the 86,400 challenge. So here's how it goes. Imagine that you woke up this morning and you were handed $86,400. Now, once you got over the shock of that, the challenge would be, well, how would you determine how to spend those $86,400? Well, most wise people would determine how to spend it based upon their greatest need versus frittering it all away on small stuff. Well, in reality, when you wake up each morning, you're probably not going to be handed $86,400, but you are handed $86,400 worth of something else, and that is seconds in the day ahead of you. 86,400 represents how many seconds there are in each day. And the challenge each day is, how do you determine how to spend them? Well, wisdom says based upon your greatest need versus frittering it all away on small stuff. No matter what you do, you won't get more seconds or minutes or hours in your day. You can, however, get the most out of those hours by prioritizing. Your greatest possession is time, the seconds, minutes, and hours you have before you. And your daily challenge is how you spend them. It is a critically important decision each day. Because listen, guys, once you spend your time, it's gone. You can't get it back. You know what? In this way, think of it this way. Time is far more valuable than money, because you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. That's the reality of time. Once it's spent, it's gone forever. Have you heard people say, I'm going to make time to do this or that? Maybe you've said it yourself. We all probably have. But as we just discovered, we cannot make more time in our day. And since that's the case, how you decide how to use your time that you do have, that becomes our focus. How we decide how to use our time reveals our priorities, what's most important to us. And listen, this is important. There is a difference between priority management and time management. Time cannot be managed. Time moves on regardless of what we do. We cannot, get it, cannot control time. We cannot manage time. Albert Einstein said that time management is an oxymoron. It's like jumbo shrimp. How could it be jumbo and shrimp? How can it be time managed? We don't control time. We didn't make time, so we can't manage time. We cannot manage our time, but we can manage our priorities and how we spend our time. We can make decisions on what to do and when we do it. So you might ask yourself, how do I determine my priorities when everything seems important? Can you relate? I'm sure you can. Well, to determine priorities, look at three main categories in your life: your personal life, your family life, and then your direct sales business life. So how do you determine your priorities in each of those categories? Well, John Maxwell, in his book, Today Matters, suggests that you ask yourself three questions in order to determine your priorities in those three categories. And you'll see those three questions listed on your handout. Think about these three questions when you're determining your priorities in your personal life, family life, and your direct sales business life. First of all, first question that he says to ask is, what is required of you that only you can do? Be really clear about what you must do personally in that particular area versus things that could be done by others. Second question to ask yourself, what are your highest ROI activities? Be clear about those activities that provide you with the highest return on your time investment, your ROI, highest return on investment. You know, this helps you prioritize the most effective use of your time. And here's a helpful tip. Ready? When in doubt with how to spend your time and what's the highest return on your investment, prioritize people investment over project investment, because people investment always pays a higher return on your investment. For example, phone chats or spreadsheets. Now, both have importance, don't get me wrong. But as far as high return on investment, phone chats with your hostesses and customers have a higher return on your investment immediately. Okay, so that's your second question, your highest return on investment. Now, the third question to ask yourself, what gives you joy? Maxwell says that if you only do what you must do, which was question number one, and then what is effective, which was question number two, the ROI question, you will be highly effective and you will be highly productive, but you may not be content. And it's important to also consider what gives you personal satisfaction. So ask yourself what gives you joy. But the first two questions come first, and then what gives you joy. So now that you know the three questions to consider in order to determine your priorities, you will want to apply those to the three main categories of your life: your personal life, your family life, and your direct sales business life. Now listen, our focus today, of course, is on your direct sales business life. But the reality is, most of you have family still at home. Most of you have young children, and you have other jobs, some of you outside the home, that really do impact, of course, your direct sales business available time. You know, you may have several hours during the day to work your business, or you may only have a few 30-minute blocks of time scattered throughout the day. Or perhaps you're working another full-time job, and so you have the challenge of making the most of an hour or two in the evenings or on a weekend. So establishing your priorities, guys, in all three categories, personal life, family life, and your business life, that's all important. Because when your time is more limited, your priorities need to be more evident, and your schedule planning needs to be more intentional. So I encourage you on your own, maybe right after this class is done, to take 15 or 20 minutes to write out your family and your personal priorities. Now, 15 to 20 minutes might not be enough to do all of it, but to get it started. But today, we're going to turn our attention to business priorities and your business life. Now, those, well, they could include categories that are listed on your handout. And on the handout, it's not an exhaustive list of priorities, but it's a starter. All right, so some starters. Now, this is an easy one, holding your shows. It's easy to put this down as a priority in your business because it is your number one job, is to hold shows. And isn't it wonderful that you have options on how to conduct your shows? Of course, in person pays a high ROI, but you know what? Virtual shows have their place, and many of you I know have created quite a healthy business with virtual shows. But also the hybrid model, where you do a little bit of both, sometimes even in the same show. So holding shows is a top priority. Another priority is scheduling new shows, getting bookings. And you know, booking new shows from shows is the most effective and efficient way to book new shows, is when you're at your shows. But booking shows is a priority. Another one, once you have your shows booked, you have to prepare for them. So, excuse me, whether it's in person or virtual, you know, there's prep work to do before a show. You've got to prepare your display, your products. You've got to prepare posts for social media, especially if it's a virtual. You've got to generate excitement. You know, there are things you have to do to prepare, and that's a priority. Along with that, number 4, hostess coaching. It's another important piece of prep. And it is good business practice, you know that, to hostess coach well, to help that hostess make the most of the show that she's chosen. Another priority, number 5, customer follow-up after the show. Super important and really smart business to follow up with those guests on their purchases, and any emails that you might send about new purchases, or even on your Facebook group, texts, private messages. These are all follow-ups, and those are priorities. Number 6, how about following up with recruit leads? Of course, you know, when you meet those that you really want to invite to kind of consider, take a closer look at your career option, you want to schedule time to follow up with them. Another priority is submitting your orders. Okay, that's obvious because that's how you get paid. But you want to make sure you prioritize it and schedule it, because items like this, if they're not scheduled, then you get overwhelmed. So we got to make sure we don't forget to schedule those business tasks and make them priorities as well. Number 8 priority is your own personal growth and personal training. It's wise to keep your skills sharp, your own personal skills like meetings or trainings or coaching calls or reading business books or listening to podcasts, or dare I say, Spirit of Success University calls like this. Thank you for prioritizing that. But that is part of your priorities. Number 9, if you're a team leader, you've got team training and connecting with your new recruits and your team members. That's a priority. Certainly a priority that's really grown has been social media connecting and marketing. Social media is really important to us now, and the opportunity to supplement the one-on-one engagement that you have is really important. But it's also, for many of you, as I mentioned before, I know social media really has become your primary avenue for conducting your business. That is a clear priority. Well, you'll remember that I mentioned people before projects, because you notice that in those that I listed for you, and again, that's not an exhaustive list, but those that I kind of listed there, the majority of your business priorities focus on connecting with people, not focusing on projects, tasks. As I mentioned earlier, when you're in doubt of what activity to prioritize people contact first over tasks or projects. Because look, there will always be time for projects if you'll put the people first. Okay, let's pause for a moment. A lot of talking from me. These are just a couple of the examples. So I want you to just maybe circle 2 or 3 that you would list as your top business priorities. Circle 2 or 3 that would be included as top for you. Okay, in the chat space, list 1 of your top priorities. Put it in the chat space so it encourages the others on the call. What's one priority that you would definitely list? I see you there. Team training and booking new shows. You betcha, Carolyn. Thank you, Pam. Book those new shows. We got a lot there. Booking new shows. Top priority. Maybe that needs to be a future Spirit of Success University class. I don't know. I'm hearing a theme. You'll let me know, I guess, right, guys? All right, good job, guys. Love that. Thanks. Thanks for that. Well, once you've identified your direct sales priorities, and again, that's not an exhaustive list, and I think you could go over that and add to it. But your next step is to determine what you want success to look like in those areas. Now, you were asked before the call to complete your pre-work assignment where you were to clarify your 6-month goals between now and end of June in several priority areas. So if you have your pre-work, you might want to get that handout out. If you were part of last month's Get Your Goals in 22 class, maybe you got that goals document, you can pull that out too. Keep in mind, as you see in your notes, that goals are the specific measurable targets that you set that provide you with direction for your key business priorities, such as those that you listed there and you see listed on your pre-work document. These all reflect on the priorities that we just talked about. So on your pre-work document, you wanted to list, what does success look like in the total number of shows each month? That's important. How many shows do you want, both in person and virtual? Super important priority. So of course you want to, excuse me, set a goal for that. Secondly, what does success look like in show average? Show average. Maybe you jotted down both in person and virtual. Third, you thought about what does success look like in bookings per show. I mentioned that's the most efficient way to get bookings is to book from your shows. So what does success look like in number of bookings for you per show? Number 4, you were to think about, how about your total personal sales for the first 6 months of this year? What do you want success to look like in total personal sales by June 30th? Hopefully you've got a number written down. 5th was, what do you think about as far as expanding your network? New hostesses, maybe women you've never even met, folks you've never even met yet. Those that maybe have been customers for forever, but they've never booked. How many new hostesses do you want this first half of the year? Number 6 is recruiting. What do you want recruiting growth to look like? What will success look like for you by June 30th? How many new recruits? What will that look like for you? Number 7, social media, since it is such a focus for so many of us. What does success look like in number of new social media contacts by June 30th? How many new clients do you want to add to your, private Facebook page, to your community page? How many new clients do you want to be engaging with on a regular basis? That's important to keep that contact. And then whatever other goal, maybe there's an incentive that your company's offering. You would put that in number 8, or maybe there's a promotion to a new title, a new level that you're looking to earn by June 30th. Whatever other incentives you might want to add. You've got that listed. It's important to know what you want success to look like, because without that direction, we're just wandering around in this business. We're just wandering around and wasting time. So to gauge the quality of your goals next, it helps to test your goals with what we call the SMART test. I didn't come up with it, certainly, but we are all pretty familiar with it. If you were part of the Get Your Goals in 22 class last month, you're familiar with SMART goals. You'll see them listed on your handout, just in case you're new to SMART goals. S is specific. Your goals, if they're SMART, are specific, meaning an example is, I'll hold 4 shows each month between January and June. Very specific number, specific time, specific action. The M is measurable. So a specific amount, not saying I want more shows this year. No, you want to say specifically, you know, four shows per month is a specific that can be measured. More or better, that can't be measured. We want a specific number. So be sure a SMART goal is measurable. A is actionable. Your goals, if they're good, SMART goals, you'll be able to take action. Each of your goals will have actions associated with them. For example, let's go back to the 4 shows per month example. If your goal was to hold 4 shows a month, there's actions you need to take to hold those 4 shows, like inviting hostesses to see the new product, or hosting a preview for your hostesses, letting them book those new shows at your preview show, hostess coaching those new hostesses. There's actions in order to hold those 4 shows. If a goal is SMART, there's action with it. R is realistic. Is it realistic for where you are in your business growth right now? Now, here's a bit of caution. Don't let realistic lull you into a too safe comfort zone. Michael Hyatt, who's an author and expert on goal setting, recommends that the R in SMART refer to both realistic and risky, meaning stretchy, not dangerous risky, but stretchy. It just gets you to stretch a little bit outside your comfort zone. So for example, 4 shows per month is realistic for most consultants who are newer in their businesses or who work another full-time job. 4 shows a month is realistic. However, it may not be risky enough for those of you who already easily accomplish 4 shows a month. Because see, playing it too safe will not be motivating. So realistic is good, but be certain that it stretches you enough that you don't give up on a goal that's too easy, too safe. So think of the R as realistic, but also risky or stretchy enough. Now the T in SMART is time sensitive, meaning does it have a deadline date? For example, 4 shows held in February is a goal with a deadline date. You know what they call a goal without a date? A wish. A goal without a deadline date is just a wish. Look, wishes are lovely things if you're standing in front of a wishing well. But ladies, wishes are not a good business strategy. So pause for just a moment. I want you to pick one of your goals from your pre-work, and I want you to write it as a SMART goal. You'll notice I gave you a starter. I will. Always, SMART goals will begin with I will, then fill in the blank. Just pick one goal and fill in the blank and make sure it's SMART, specific and measurable, action, realistic, and time sensitive. So I will, and then fill in the blank. Remember to be on mute, guys. We hear a little bit of rustling. So please check to make sure you're on mute. Thank you. So I will and finish that goal. And I love that a couple of you are already putting it in the chat space. Diane, thank you. I will hold 4 in person and 2 virtual shows a month. I would just add, by June 30th or between January and June, something like that, so that you have that specific deadline, time frame. Let me put it that way. Good job. Good job. Carolyn, I will have 19 new hosts by June 30th. Excellent. Love that. Let's see, Denise, I will grow my team by bringing on 1 recruit a month by June 30th. Good job, Deanna. Love that. Love that. All right. So you know what a SMART goal is. Be sure you test your goals that they are SMART and they are I will goals. Good job, guys. Now, you have your goals identified. Let's move to the next step, which is breaking your goals down into actionable steps. Now, the actionable steps that are needed to achieve the goal, well, that becomes your daily priorities. That becomes your daily actions. So you'll notice an example on your handout. Let's say you work a full-time job outside your home and you have school-age kids. Your vision for your business is that your business will provide the extras for your family at this point. So like family vacations or just extra special kids activities or lessons and such. That's what you want your business to do for your family. So your goal in order to make that happen is 4 to 5 shows per month, because that will give you the income that you need for those extra special family activities. So you decide that to do those 4 to 5 shows, 2 are going to be in person and 1 is going to be a multi-hostess virtual show. Okay. So you're ready to schedule your February calendar. Your goal is, again, 4 to 5 shows. So what are some of the actions you'll need to take in order to secure those 4 to 5 shows? All right, so I listed some examples. So you might invite your past hostesses to preview the product, first of all. Then they can pick dates for their own show. You might reach out to hostesses who can't come and see a preview and offer them available dates. So you might do some outreach. You might prepare some social media posts to offer and suggest booking. Of course, once you get them booked, you want to hostess coach those hostesses. You also want to reserve time after the show to follow up with your guests and encourage them to book future shows. Of course, you also want to reserve time to follow up with recruit leads. These are just some of the actionable steps that you would prioritize, you would take in order to fulfill your goal of booking and holding 4 to 5 shows. These action steps now become your priorities, which you schedule into your calendar and assign specific days. Look, just writing in your calendar the name of a hostess on a square date is not enough to actually hold a successful show. You've got to follow through with all the action steps needed before and after to hold those 4 or 5 successful shows. Look, if you've been a consultant for even a couple months, you know these steps. However, hear me on this, guys. You run into time challenges when you assume these steps and you don't account for the actual time it takes to do them. And when that happens, you frequently end up overwhelmed at the last minute, trying to rush through forgotten steps, and your results just aren't what they could have been at those shows. Anybody relate to a little assuming? Well, here's the good news. The cure for assuming is to decide when you will do each step and schedule those actions into your planner. In this way, you're truly priority managing because you're scheduling all the steps you'll take to book and hold those 4 or 5 shows. You're not just waiting for a date to be secured and write a name and a date and say, well, that's it. No, you're taking into account all the steps, and then you're scheduling the day and time you will actually do those steps, the actual time. You're no longer assuming your actions, but rather you're being held accountable for the time that they really do take. So if that thought of assuming rang a familiar bell, I want you to pause for a moment and jot in your notes one area of your business where, let's be honest, you sometimes assume the actions and don't always write them down in your calendar. Where are you assuming? Let's jot that down in your notes. Where are you assuming in your business? Time to be honest. All right, in the chat space, where do you assume? Your sisters need to hear this and you need to confess it. You need to share. Where have you been assuming at times in your business? Recruiting activities. Laura, thank you. I appreciate that. Who else has something where you assume and don't write all the actions down? Don't actually schedule. Hostess coaching, people contact. Thank you, Amelia. Hostess coaching. I see you there. Christy, steps to get a show ready. Yeah, all those prep steps. And then you're running around going, I got to get this ready and that ready. It's just panic time. Hostess coaching. I see a lot of that. Maybe that's another topic. Okay, later on that. Seeing some topics flying up here. All right. Yeah, confession feels good to the soul. So we've admitted we do have some assuming. All right, so with that in mind, let's take the next step. Let's move these previously assumed actions into our planner. So there are 3 components that provide for a good planner. And I hope you've got a calendar or planner in front of you. And if not, don't panic. I'm going to share something with you. But if you have one, get it in front of you. That'd be great. Here's the 3 components to a good planner. One, that you would have monthly at-a-glance pages. So I'm sure you all have a calendar where you've got 30 days at a glance, or for February 28, but you've got the month at a glance. We probably use that over and over. That's where we put the dates of our hostesses and such. That's important. Second component to a good planner, daily pages, not just the month, but then 30 individual daily pages for each month, daily pages. And third, timestamps on the daily pages. Now you can add these to your daily pages in your planner if that doesn't come that way. And if you look at the back of your handouts, flip to the back, there's appendix letter A, and it will give you an idea as to what timestamps can look like and how you can add that to your planner page, or feel free to use that planner page. Make copies of it and make it your daily planner. But that has timestamps on it. If yours it doesn't already include it. So those 3 things are important for a good planner: the month at a glance, daily pages, and then timestamps. So now that you know the important components to a good planner, let's take a look at the 3 keys to moving your actions from your assumed head into your planner. Okay? Everybody okay? Take a deep breath. I don't want to go too fast. Okay, here we go. First thing, we're going to graduate, guys, from Post-it notes and yellow pad to-do lists into a real planner. Look, Post-it notes and yellow pads have their usefulness, but guys, they're not a good way to run your business. So let's use a planner. And again, if Appendix A is a good start for you, use that. Because a planner allows you to put your priorities, all those things you used to assume, or you used to put on Post-it notes and never-ending yellow pads. In a planner, you put all that in one place so that those activities will have an assigned date and time. You'll want to schedule your family and personal priorities first, and hear me on that. You've got to schedule your family and personal priorities first into your business planner. Because if you've got kiddos, they've got school schedule, after school activities, you've got grocery shopping you do, your own doctor appointments, the kiddos' doctor appointments, dentist appointments, hair appointments, Bible study, all those things. Put them in your planner first. Because I can tell you this for sure. If you don't schedule everything regarding yourself and your family first, you'll get overwhelmed. And you know what? Look, this is truth. Oftentimes your business gets blamed. So put everything regarding your personal and family priorities into your planner first. Assign everything a day and a time block. That way you can take a realistic look at your time remaining, and you'll be much less likely to overcommit and then get overwhelmed. So the second key to moving your actions into your planner is calendar blocking. So once you have your personal and family priorities scheduled or blocked on your schedule, then you can block in your business priorities. Now, calendar blocking, that's a skill that most of you already use. I mean, you probably use it to pre-select the dates that you wanted to hold for your shows each month. I bet you many of you have already blocked out all your available dates on your calendar from January through June, so that you know the dates that you can tell your hostesses that you're available. So you know how to calendar block. It's also, though, a skill that you can use in your daily planning of your priorities and action steps. This is where your planner with timestamps, again, Appendix A, comes in handy. Don't worry, though. I'm not suggesting that you schedule every minute of your day. No. That is unsustainable. And frankly, that would be oppressive. We need margin. We need buffer space. Instead, think about those actions that you want to give a block of time to, so that you can focus your energy for a set period of time. And remember this, energy follows focus. That's why it's so important to take a block of time and say, this is when I'll do my hostess coaching, or this is when I'm going to do my social media posts during this block of time, because then you're focused on just that activity and that activity only. And your energy, you're just more energized. You're more motivated to do that because you have a block of time. You're not all over the place making a phone call and then running over and getting dinner started and then running over and calling a host. I mean, that's crazy. Let me share an example. And again, it might help to look at Appendix B and C. Look at Appendix B and C on the back of your handout as I'm sharing it. Remember the example I shared earlier about booking your show and getting ready for your show prep actions. We've used that example. Think back to that. That is a top priority. You've got to book your shows. You got to prep your hostess and not assume the steps that you're going to take, but you want to schedule them. So plan in advance how much time you'll need for each action. And now initially it will be a guesstimate based upon your experience, but over time you'll get better at knowing how much time you'll give each activity. Again, you hostess coach a lot, so you'll have a pretty good idea. How much time will it take to get the packets ready? How much time do you want to give to a phone call with her? How much time will it be to make some posts put on the social media page? You'll know that. Guesstimate first, but you'll get better. Then pick the day and time you will block for making the hostess coaching contacts or posts or getting the packets. You make that appointment. You make that appointment with yourself, just like as if you're going to go to a hair appointment. And now it could be that your available time for making those hostess coaching calls themselves is a smaller block of time because you've got young kids, or maybe you work another job outside the home. And so your available business time is limited to evenings. Just remember this, guys, schedule the time you do have available. That's the key. Some hostess contact, of course, you can do by email or text or private message, of course. But your highest ROI, remember, comes from personal contact. Now, the key to calendar blocking is be clear about your priorities and be clear about the time you have available each day. Again, look at Appendix B and C. You see the blocks there. Then assign each priority a time slot when you'll accomplish it. When you have a day that you don't accomplish all the priorities that you had planned, then reassess the incomplete task, because that's going to happen, guys. We're going to have at times more things to do than we have hours in the day. Now, as you get better at prioritizing, that won't be as frequent, but early on, you'll think, oh my goodness, I have more to my list. Okay, so decide if it's still a priority. Those things that are left, are they still a priority? If they are, then assign them a time the next day or later in the week, or decide if it's something that someone else can help with, or decide if it can be just as easily scheduled later in the month. But be careful. Don't use that as an excuse to procrastinate a task that's difficult or maybe a little uncomfortable. Schedule your highest priority task first each day or each work period so that you accomplish it first. And you'll see those high ROI results that your goals want you to achieve. And what you're going to quickly notice, guys, is calendar blocking puts you in control of when you take action on your highest priority tasks. And therefore, you're going to have, listen, fewer crises. Tasks don't tend to pile up or slip through the cracks. Calendar blocking puts you in control, and it helps you work and live intentionally and proactively. You're less likely to overcommit because you know the tasks that you already have on your schedule. So, hey, if you already know this, if you already calendar block, not just know it, but if you are currently already actively using calendar blocking in the chat space, type I do to encourage each other. I do if you already consistently use calendar blocking. Look at that. There you go, Amelia. Maria, you go, girl. Norma, you're starting to. That's right, girl. I'm making sure, huh? All right, I see Diane in February. There you go, this month. Now, if you will give calendar blocking a try, type I will. If you will, if you're committed. Diane already got it started. Good job, Janet. I love that. Carolyn, thank you. I will. Make that commitment to yourself. You're making that commitment to yourself. All right, final thing. Final key to moving your actions to your planner is to stay open to the pivot point. The pivot point. Once you establish your schedule and you have your calendar blocked for your priorities for the month, what happens when something new is introduced to your schedule? When a new opportunity presents itself or a change occurs? Well, the key to maintaining a successful schedule is knowing how to pivot, how to make adjustments when a new opportunity or a new change occurs, and that now becomes a priority. Look, we all have done that the past 2 years, haven't we? Little thing called COVID. We learned how to pivot pretty quickly. But let's say, for example, maybe a new recruiting incentive is introduced by your company and they introduce it for a very limited time. So you decide you want to go for it, but you got to hop to it. So you realize if you're going to get that new recruit in that limited time frame, and you didn't know about that beforehand, you got to reach out to your prospects in order to discuss, is this a good time for them to kind of consider the career option? But that means you're going to need time to make some phone calls. So how do you plan 30 minutes or an hour over the next couple of days to reach out to your prospects? Well, you need to adjust your schedule to do this, which means something of lower priority, which you previously had in your schedule, needs to be moved to a different day. Now, listen, the mistake would be to try to wedge your prospect calls, which you hadn't planned, into an already full schedule, because that leads to overwhelm and stress. And ladies, you know it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Remember, we can't magically make time for new activities. Rather, we schedule the time by moving a lower priority activity. So knowing how to pivot, how to adjust your schedule versus adding more to an already full plate. That's the key to maintaining a successful schedule. I didn't say it was easy, but it's good to know, okay, this is how I do it. So as you begin to move your actions into your planner to make your goals become a reality, remember the 3 things we just discussed. Number 1, stop using Post-it notes as if they're your planner. I love you, but stop. 2, begin to assign your actions as appointments. And 3, pivot to adjust your schedule rather than add to an already full schedule. So circle which one of those 3 speak to you most right now. Which one of those 3, circle, speak to you most. All right, ladies. Hey, you know what? We've gotten off to a pretty good start on how to prioritize and how to plan your schedule to achieve your goals. So now your job is to decide what steps are the most important for you to take right now and begin to implement into your actions, into your daily habits. So I encourage you to get started on those new habits by looking at your action plan that's on your handout, second page of your handout. Specifically, what is one action that you're going to take immediately based on what you learned today? Find your action plan. What's one action? Write it down in your action plan that you will take immediately. This is an action, not like, oh, I learned this or I learned that, but an action. Now put a date to it. When are you going to start? In case you need to know, today's February 4th. just saying. Seriously, it does need to be within the next 48 hours to get started, if you're serious. Okay, put it in the chat space. What's one action? Encourage each other. Put your action step in the chat space, please. Pam, February 4th, you're going to start calendar blocking. Good for you. Good deal. Kathleen, calendar blocking for personal and family. Yeah, you can spend about 20 minutes after our call. Get that started. That'll help. Maria, completing your calendar by tomorrow. Love it. Casey, I love it. You're going to be thinking through making some decisions. Good for you. Robin, calendar blocking. Yes, ma'am. Good job, guys. Good job. That action step that you guys just wrote down, that makes the last 50 minutes worthwhile for you, huh? You know, as you can tell, guys, we really have only scratched the surface on how to be efficient and effective in prioritizing your time. There is so much more to this topic. And if you are among those today who want more support in this area, I can help. Just as this is the #1 most popular workshop topic that I'm asked to share, it's also one of the top areas of support and habit development that my coaching clients ask for. So I literally have 3 spots remaining this season, meaning through June, that are available for new coaching clients. So whether this is for you to support you in priority management or any other goal you want, or maybe it's for a group of your peers and you, that's something I want you strongly to consider. Look, you probably have heard me say before, 87% of what you learn, you lose in 30 days if you don't reinforce it and coach it in. That means 87% of what you just heard today, it's going to be gone by early March. Gone. 87% of it. We have to coach it in. We have to use it. So we can partner one-on-one, as I have with many of you, or you can get a small group of your sisters together if you have the same goal, and we can meet in a small group, as many of us do. And I have a special discount pricing for my direct sales clients. Just email me, beth@spiritofsuccess.com, and we can discuss that. But don't delay. I literally have 3 spots left. spiritofsuccess.com, and ask about the direct sales discount pricing. If you currently coach with me, just encourage the others on this call and type I do. If you currently do coach with me, because I know there are many of you, you're precious. I appreciate you. So just kind of type in there an I do, just so that others know that I'm not kidding. You really do exist. Diane, thank you. Maria, thank you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Norma, thank you. Thanks, guys. The I do's. I appreciate it. Well, hey, my other favorite invitation to extend to each of you is you're invited to join me and your direct sales sisters on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. East Coast, 7 a.m. Pacific for our free First Things First Bible study calls. We meet for 30 minutes on Monday mornings to learn about how to be godly businesswomen. There's no cost to join, but if you'd like more information on our Monday morning Bible study and prayer calls, just email me, beth@spiritofsuccess.com. And be sure that you are a part of our Facebook group, Spirit of Success with Beth Jones Shaw. Put that in the search space in Facebook, and you'll come to that group, and I'll make sure you get in. I know the person who put you in. I'll put a good word in. But seriously, that's where I share just-in-time training tips and daily encouragement, so you don't want to miss a day. We've had some great engagement lately, very lively. So be sure to be an active part of the group, and you'll learn ideas that you can use on your own Facebook VIP group. So come on, be an active part of it. And that's also where I will keep you posted on the next Spirit of Success University class. So be sure that you are part of that. Go to Spirit of Success with Beth Jones Shaw. Put that in the search space, and I'll make sure you get in. And lastly, you do not have to wait for the next Zoom class for direct sales training. You can just go to my website, spiritofsuccess.com. I would love it if you would make that one of your favorites, spiritofsuccess.com. You'll find podcasts on that website, and you'll find resources for just about any direct sales topic that you might need. So just so I have a gauge as to how helpful this class has been for you, so I know myself, just on a scale of 1 to 5 in the chat space, 5 being most helpful, 1 being not helpful, just give a number to how valuable was this class for you? How helpful was this class for you? Just real quick, scale of 1 to 5, so I know. Some of you kind of in the middle. Some of you 5s. Okay, we got a lot of 5s. All right, good. It's okay. That way I know. And I think I've heard a few other topics. Look, if you got topics, let me know that you want to hear. That's This came because of last month's call. So that's how things get done from you. So thanks for that. By the way, if today's class, guys, was of value to you and you think others of your peers who aren't on that they would benefit from hearing it, I would absolutely treasure your referrals to your home office staff to present this or any other direct sales topic to your sales field. So as part of your conference, part of your leadership conference, I would treasure your referrals. So I hope that you feel comfortable referring me. Okay, guys, we've covered a lot of ground today to help you plan for success. We discussed how to understand the power of priorities. We discussed identifying your goals, and we discussed scheduling your goal actions into your planner. Remember that we began the session with a challenge, the 86,400 challenge. And you'll remember that I mentioned that, when you wake up each morning, you're handed 86,400 seconds in the day ahead of you. And your challenge each day is to determine how to spend them. No matter what you do, you will not get more seconds or hours in your day, but you can get the most out of them. Prioritizing your actions is your absolute #1 most important decision every day. How you're going to use your time. And the strategies that we discussed today will lead you to making wise decisions about your time. And guys, you're going to find you're not just going to be planning for success, you'll be realizing success. So I am happy to stay on to answer any questions. If you need to hop off, thank you so much. I look forward to staying connected on our Facebook page and hope to see you again soon.